UFC 307, Alex Pereira versus Khalil Rountree Jr. just ended, and this is going to be my post-fight recap for the main event. And it was a surprisingly competitive main event. Alex Pereira retains the light heavyweight title via 4th round TKO in a fight that was unbelievably competitive. And this fight was so shocking to me. I feel like a lot of people, when they expect a certain outcome in a fight and it's shockingly competitive, I feel like they have a warped mindset on it. So I went back and I rewatched the fight in its entirety. We're going to break it down in this video. We have a lot to discuss. There's some people talking about, I was even kind of half joking about, Pereira got exposed by Rountree. We're going to break that down. We're going to talk about what's next for the light heavyweight division. You know what we're also going to take a look at? There's a clip of a former light heavyweight champion mocking Pereira's win. His live reaction, we're going to take a look at that. We'll save that for the end of the video because that's not that important. But let's go through it round by round because Khalil Rountree somehow won the first 2 rounds, was winning the 3rd round early before Pereira really started to put it on him. But first round, basically you have Rountree lunging in and landing big shots. Pereira had some leg kicks. Pereira had some moments, but Khalil Rountree clearly landed the bigger, more powerful shots. Also, Pereira came out through a front kick immediately. If someone in the light heavyweight division was willing to grapple, they could have took him down right then and there. Second round. Now, second round actually shocked me on rewatch because I remember like Khalil Rountree clearly won this round, and it was so clear for Khalil Rountree, and it was, don't get me wrong, but early Pereira was winning. Pereira was winning early, landing some good shots, and then it was within the last minute and a half, Rountree ducks under a head kick and lands a nasty right hand and hurts Pereira, drops him, and literally could have grabbed him, grappled him right then and there, could have took his back potentially. Instead, he immediately backs off. I don't understand that. I think that was a horrible decision. Should have really went after him. Now, Pereira gets up, starts pressing, but Rountree really should have took that moment and tried to take advantage of it right there. That's his moment. Now, second round, as the second round's happening and Pereira's winning like the first 3.5 minutes, 4 minutes of the second round, you could see Rountree starting to slow down a little bit. And it really, the commentary team was harping on it a little bit too much. Maybe I was as well. But it's like Rountree at elevation, first 5-round fight. I'm thinking Rountree's going to do really good, but he's going to gas out. I don't want to say that's exactly what happened, but that's kind of what happened. The third round even surprised me on rewatch as well, because the third round live, I just remember Pereira battering him in the third round. And that's really not what, I mean, that is what happened. But the first 3.5, 4 minutes of the third round, Rountree was winning. Even the very beginning of the third round, and Rountree had some questionable fight IQ in the third round, in this fight in general. He landed a nasty left hand and then a nasty body kick that I think hurt Pereira. Pereira immediately drops his hands, backs up against the cage. Rountree just backs off and lets him recover from any potential kind of, injury or just, damage that he did off. It was a nasty body kick, okay? Then you get to maybe about the 3-minute mark, and Pereira starts using the jab a little bit more, but nothing crazy. I still think Rountree's out ahead. And then with about 1 minute and 15 seconds left in the third round, Pereira, I think he knows, okay, I maybe lost those first 2 rounds. This round is razor close. He's probably thinking about the judges because the judges were horrible. I'm going to do a full card post-fight as well. Check that out. I'll link it down in the description as soon as that's done. And Pereira with about 1 minute and 15, maybe 1 minute and 30 seconds left in the third round, starts putting it on Rountree. Starts walking him down, busting him up with the jab, landing good shots, chopping the legs a little bit more. And round 3, undeniably, Alex Pereira's round. Then round 4. Look, round 4 is where Pereira gets the TKO. You could see that Rountree was starting to get tired. It wasn't even a blowout round. Rountree was having some moments, but I believe it was about maybe the 2.5 minute mark, maybe 3.5 minute mark, somewhere around there. There was a really stiff jab. And in this round, Pereira was picking up the pace. He was pressuring heavily. He was cutting off angles. He was landing the calf kick more. But about midway through that round, there was a really stiff jab that busted Rountree up. And then it was like from that moment on, it was like Pereira building downhill. And then maybe a minute and a half, Pereira lands like a nasty right hand and left hook just misses right behind it. And basically from there on, it's Pereira looking for the kill. He's walking him down. He's throwing combinations. He's pumping the jab. He's kicking the leg. He's teeping to the body. And then finally, he gets Rountree back up against the fence, and he's just slugging him. And he's just working him over, and it's looking like it's going to get stopped, maybe even a standing TKO. Rountree circles out yet again. He's busted. He's bloody. Then he ends up with his back against the fence again. And Pereira at this point has dropped his hands. His head movement looks good. Rountree has slowed down significantly. Pereira has no respect for what's coming back. And he's just starts going off. And Rountree, in one last effort, is backed up against the fence. It's looking like it's about to be stopped. He throws like 3 huge lunging hooks. And some of them actually land. The camera angle was kind of facing the back of Pereira, so you couldn't see how clean they landed. And then after those 3 shots, Rountree just kind of curled up. There was 2 nasty body shots by Pereira, then an uppercut. Sat Rountree down. Pereira didn't even need to follow up. The fight was waved off. 4th round TKO to defend his light heavyweight title. Pereira gets it done. Now, I think this was a gutsy performance from Pereira. I think it was a performance that was exciting. I mean, this fight exceeded my expectations. And I hate to do this because this goes against one of my main rules. You know, if you've been watching my channel for any prolonged period of time, what is one thing I always say? You don't elevate a guy off a loss. I'm more impressed with Khalil Rountree's performance than I am with Pereira's performance. If Rountree comes in with a better gas tank, I don't know that that fight's not different. Now, maybe Pereira decided because he gassed in Salt Lake City before, he was going to be slow in the first 2 rounds. Because it's not like he just got dominated in the first 2. Again, the first was kind of close. Rountree landed just a little bit bigger shots. 2nd round, Pereira was winning until he gets dropped. 3rd round, Pereira won the 3rd round. So I think it's a combination of all factors. I think Rountree's cardio was not, he's just lunging forward with these big shots. The cardio is going to fail, okay? But I also think maybe Pereira kind of, I don't want to say he took off the first 2 rounds, but he gassed against Jan. He was brutally gassed in a 3-round fight against Jan. He had to be coming into this fight with that mindset. I do not want to gas in this fight at elevation. So I think, because if you go back and rewatch it, I'm telling you right now, 3rd round, about a minute left, 20 seconds left in the 3rd round. It's like a switches flip for Pereira. And he just starts tagging him and walking him down and really starting to find the jab and find more calf kicks. And I just think it was, okay, we've gotten through the majority of this fight. I'm not exhausted. It's time to turn it up because if this goes to decision somehow, I want to make sure I win 3 rounds. But at the same time, I'm so impressed with Khalil Rountree. I really am. I mean, he's the number 8 ranked guy in the world. I didn't think he deserved this title shot at all. I think in a way it would have been cool to see Rountree win, but at the same time, it would have been a travesty because dude arguably lost to Dustin Jacoby. It was competitive with Anthony Smith. So it's one of those fights I truly don't know how to feel. Because it was kind of a gutsy performance by Pereira. He dealt with some adversity and was able to win in the 4th round at elevation in an arena that he gassed out in before against Jan Blachowicz and should have lost that fight, by the way. But at the same time, I'm like, you know what? It was that close with Khalil Rountree. You kind of got exposed a little bit. I know that's a little bit hyperbolic to say Pereira got exposed. But man, I mean, when's the last time we seen Pereira in this? He hasn't taken this much damage since the Izzy fight, where he got brutally KO'd, slept badly. Who's put this much damage on Pereira? Honestly, Izzy didn't even put this much damage on Pereira. And it's just crazy to see a guy like Khalil Rountree do it, who's not even mixing in the grappling. That's another thing. Light heavyweight's just brain dead. I'm telling you, Khalil would have mixed in the grappling. Maybe he would have gassed anyway. Could have got a takedown right off the first front kick to the face that Pereira missed. Could have easily taken his back off the right hand that dropped Pereira. Could have easily taken his back there, but instead he's like, you know what? I'm not going to grapple at all. I'm not going to shoot any takedowns at all. I'm just going to stand here and strike with the best striker arguably in the UFC. It makes no sense, but man, Rountree got busted up. The jab, I mean, there was a cut. Even if Rountree, because Rountree got stopped, I think there was maybe 30 seconds left in the 4th round, maybe a little bit less. Even if it wouldn't have got stopped, somehow Rountree would have survived. it's like, it would have been stopped because there was a nasty cut over his eye. His nose was busted up. He came in with that. You know, no one was mentioning that all fight week. I don't know how. I was mentioning it in the live stream. Like, okay, there's clearly damage on his nose here. But fair play to Pereira. He gets it done. He loses the first 2 rounds. He comes back, wins 3 and 4. Got dropped in the second round. But at the same time, it's like, against Khalil Rountree, the guy who was getting busted up by Dustin Jacoby. What? I don't even know how to feel about the light heavyweight division because Khalil Rountree is having a better performance against Pereira than Jamahal Hill or Yuri Prochazka is. So it's like, how is this even happening? It's hard to really break down the light heavyweight division. But Pereira gets it done. Once he started to turn it on and he realized, like, I have no respect for Khalil anymore because he's tired, he's exhausted, I'm going to walk him down and beat the shit out of him. The striking looked phenomenal. It was super exciting. This main event saved the card. This card on paper was kind of shit. And it was kind of living up to that shit on paper card. But the main event really, truly delivered. It had everything, adversity, back and forth, momentum changes. So it really kind of saved UFC 307. But at the same time, it should have never been the main event. Should have been Pereira versus Magomed Ankalaev. And what I do find funny, and, you know, I guess we might as well jump into this. What's next for Pereira? You have Joe Rogan getting on the mic, and he asks Alex Pereira, oh, what's next? You can move to heavyweight or you can go down to middleweight and fight Dricus du Plessis. What? Magomed Ankalaev, 12-fight unbeaten streak. If he beats Alexander Rakic, who he shouldn't even be fighting next, you know, in 3 weeks at UFC 308, which, oh my God, I can't wait for UFC 308. It's going to be incredible. Great card. Cannot wait for it. 13-fight unbeaten streak. How are you not going to book Alex Pereira versus Magomed Ankalaev? That is the fight to make. And what I find so funny about it is Merab Dvalishvili wins the belt at UFC Noche. You can't wait to press him about Umar Nurmagomedov. But Pereira wins. You ask him about fights in divisions he's not fighting in. It just shows how backwards the UFC is. And I know there's people that are like, oh, we don't like Ankalaev. And they say, you know, basically false narratives, which I already broke down. We're not going to get into them in the video. That's the fight to make. That's a heater. That's one of the greatest fights the UFC can make right now. And I understand Ankalaev still has to beat Rakic, and Rakic is no easy task. But still, you have to think, you know, they could have mentioned Magomed Ankalaev is fighting in 2 weeks, 3 weeks. If he wins, is that who you're looking at? Now, fair play to Pereira. He said, look, you know, I could fight at heavyweight. I'm not necessarily going to go down to middleweight because Sean Strickland's angling for a title fight, even though people are acting like it's announced. Sean Strickland's probably not going to get that title fight. And Strickland is trying to kind of force the narrative to the fans to put the pressure on the UFC. I don't believe it's going to work. I actually think it's counterintuitive to what he wants to do because I think he's going to end up not getting the title fight. We're going to have to wait and see what happens with Whitaker Khamzat Chimaev at UFC 308. But he says, look, I like this division. I like the weight cut. I think it's perfect. So what you have now is you have 2 guys that are going to be on the same kind of timeline. Ankalaev, if he wins later this month in a couple weeks, it's, you know, what is it now? It's October 6th. I think the card's on October... I want to say the card's on October 27th or October 26th, something like that. I don't know. It's only 3 weeks away from tonight. They're going to be on the same timeline. So you have to make Pereira versus Ankalaev. And what's crazy to me, and again, going back to the division, is just brain dead. Ankalaev's like, I'm not going to shoot a takedown either. Now, Ankalaev is primarily a striker. But to not mix in the grappling against Pereira is the most brainless tactic I don't understand. Why are these guys so prideful? Yeah, I'm not going to be shooting a takedown. And by the way, what was Khalil Rountree's special move? He was hyping up this special move coming into the fight. I didn't see a special move. I don't know what it was. If you know, let me know down in the comments. But overall, to kind of sum this up before we look at a reaction from Jamahal Hill, former light heavyweight champion, most embarrassing performance of the entire night was Jamahal Hill in the crowd at UFC 307. But to sum this up, this main event over-delivered for an undeserved title shot. Still doesn't make me any less sick of undeserved title shots, but I really enjoy, while I'm watching the fight, I'm really enjoying it. I'm glad I went back and rewatched it. My perspective on it has changed a bit. Nothing crazy, but I'm glad I did go back and rewatch it because I'm like, okay, Khalil's going to get smashed, then Khalil's competitive. I feel like my perception is warped, and I encourage you guys to go check it out as well. I mean, it's a really solid fight to watch, but I really think Rountree, if his cardio would have been better, I think he could have won this fight. I really do think he could have won this fight. I thought after the second round, I'm like, if he doesn't fade, he may win this fight. I couldn't believe it. I'm losing my voice. I got live streamed for 7 hours earlier, so I'm losing my voice. But overall, good main event. Saved the card. Even though it's undeserved, we still had fun. I'm hoping that Pereira Ankalaev is next. If Ankalaev beats Rockage at UFC 308, can't wait for that. That's going to be a great fight. But Pereira's doing what Pereira's been doing. Being active, defending the belt. How many times has he defended the belt now? What? So he won last November against Yuri. He won the belt against Yuri. Then he knocked out Jamahal Hill at UFC 300. Then he defended against Yuri at UFC 303 on short notice. And then, so he's defended the belt 3 times. I hate to say this as well, and I know Pereira fans, they act like I hate Pereira. Pereira is literally one of my favorite fighters to watch. Probably top 3 favorite fighter to watch right now. It's hard not to have your mind start going there like, wait a second. So this is what happened when a guy is not coming off a catastrophic injury in a short notice fight, or, short notice for Yuri in the second fight, short notice for Jamahal Hill in the fight at UFC 300, and then Yuri's coming back from a catastrophic injury. Jamahal Hill's coming back from a catastrophic injury. This is the first time at light heavyweight since he's had the title we're getting a guy who's not coming back from a catastrophic injury and or on short notice. And Khalil made it super competitive, but fair enough to Pereira. He's a champion. He went out there. He won the 3rd round. He won the 4th round and got a TKO in the 4th round and faced some adversity. Cannot wait to see where he goes from here. I would love to see the Ankalaev fight. I think that's a great fight for the UFC to make next. Now, the next thing I want to check out before we go, okay? I just have to show this because I don't know if I'll get a chance to cover it in another video. Jamahal Hill. Jamahal Hill, former light heavyweight champion Jamahal Hill, was in the crowd at UFC 307. Does this guy have no shame? Because this is his reaction in the crowd as Pereira finishes Khalil Rountree. The guy that he was supposed to fight, but then he pulled out of UFC 303, probably because he was terrified of seeing Pereira's highlights in the main event. This is his reaction. Can you believe this? Does this guy have no shame? Dude's yawning. This man's yawning. Now, fair play to him. Last time he was around Pereira, he went to sleep. So maybe he's starting to feel tired. He's around Pereira. He's in his presence. He's starting to feel tired. He's got to yawn a bit. But, I mean, seriously, dude, you got to act like this. And you know what this reminds me of? And by the way, dude's got a bigger pot belly than I do, okay? So, I don't know. I don't think he's returning anytime soon. But this dude got brutally chinned in the 1st round. And here he is at Pereira's next fight. Not even next fight. 2 fights later. And he's yawning after a great performance. I mean, you can say what you will about the performance, but overall, exciting performance. Let's put it that way. And this dude's in the crowd yawning. Or maybe he's pretending to eat stuffing at Thanksgiving dinner, after sucker punching his brother, allegedly. Maybe that's what he's doing, knocking his teeth down his throat. I don't know. But I just had to highlight this because this dude is the ultimate, salty fighter. Jamahal Hill is so annoying. Does he have no shame? This dude needs to have some shame. I mean, I just don't get it. Alex Pereira is far more exciting than Jamahal Hill. He brutally chinned Jamahal Hill. He slumped out Jamahal Hill. And you know what? It was refreshing. We'll end on this. Khalil Rountree, as undeserving as he was, he showed up and put on a fight for the fans, and he delivered. And he had a good performance. He survived to the 4th round. And then afterwards, he just accepted his loss. He didn't try to blame the referee. Yeah, if the referee didn't look at me the wrong way and disrupt my rhythm, maybe I wouldn't have got slumped, and I didn't actually get TKO'd and this and that. He didn't make up all these excuses. That's what Jamahal Hill would have done. So, congratulations to Khalil Rountree. Put on a great fight. Pereira gets a win. 4th round TKO. Striking is unbelievable. When are these guys going to learn to grapple? When are these guys going to learn to grapple? Is Ankalaev going to go out there and strike with him and may get KO'd? Now, I like Ankalaev's chances, especially after seeing tonight. That's a fight that I need to see. That's a massive fight. But when are these guys going to learn to grapple? Is everyone at light heavyweight just brain dead? Yeah, let's go out there and just strike with one of the best strikers in all the UFC and of all time, honestly. Makes no sense. Pereira's exposing a lot of these guys for being complete and utter idiots. Imagine if Pereira's like, yeah, I'm going to go out there against Nikita Krylov and I'm going to shoot double legs nonstop. You'd be like, oh, well, this is kind of idiotic. This makes no sense. It makes no sense. These guys are brain dead. I swear they're getting paid behind the scenes. I'm joking about that, okay? I'm joking. Seems like they're getting paid behind the scenes to strike with Pereira, and Pereira's making them pay for it. But overall, enjoyed the main event of UFC 307. If you care to check out my full card post-fight, it'll be linked in the end cards as well as down in the description as soon as it's done. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and thank you so much for watching.